Good afternoon. This is my first time coming to this beautiful temple, a Japanese temple. And first of all, let me express my deepest appreciation and honor to Nipponzan Myohoji, the late Reverend Gyosei Handa Oshutnim Sama. Sorry about my bad Japanese. I'm not so sure whether I pronounced the right word. And that's the pioneer, the person who built this temple. And that's his picture over there, the pioneer of this beautiful temple. And then also I would like to express my appreciation and honor to the Sister Maruta, who is now running the temple. Yeah, Sister Maruta. Yeah. So, without these two reverends, we wouldn't be here today. This is a beautiful temple in Milton Keynes with a lot of culture. Japanese garden, a grassy slope in there, and a peace pagoda in there advocating peace. So it's very memorable. I'm deeply impressed by it. Milton Keynes is this deepest culture of a small population of Japanese 45 years ago when the Japanese came here to set up factories for the development of Milton Keynes. So these are the pioneers, and most of them have returned to Japan already, but leave this heritage to us, this vintage to us that we can treasure. Okay, now we also thank the MK Buddhist Association for making this occasions come true. We thank Alan, Meiji, Young, Tony, Eugenie, and all the others that I forgot to mention. So many people involved in making this come true. Now, okay, without further ado, let me go on today's, we call it a discussion. When I first come here, the people who organized this meeting said that it's a Q&A session. You ask questions and I give an answer to it. But then they summarize all these questions into some broad categories, and 25% of all the questionnaires come up to, they want to hear something about the how to improve emotional well-being of people, of people in Milton Keynes, people all over the UK. Well, this is something that I'm very interested in, so I may as well concentrate on this topic. And afterwards, if you have any questions that you would like to ask, you can always feel free to ask questions if I can answer them. Now, so getting to the core of our discussion, which is how to improve the emotional well-being of people. Milton Keynes, I'm talking Milton Keynes. Now, I gathered some statistics from the UK Statistics Department, so everybody would know some mental health statistics in the UK. You can always look at the screen over there. 1 in 4 people in England will experience a mental health problem each year. It refers to the general prevalence of conditions like anxiety, depressions, OCD, you name it, mental disorder. 1 in every 4. Isn't it an amazing figure? 7,055 deaths by suicide were registered in the UK in 2023. The figures may be higher now, I don't know, but in 23, which is 2 years ago, we have 7,055 deaths by suicide. And mental health problems could be the single biggest risk factor in it. This is something that we should really pay attention to. And there's an average of 19 people die by suicide per day. 19 people. Imagine today, 19 people die by suicide. And some of the reasons could be mental problems. And the highest suicide rate is among males aged 45 to 54. Now, this age group may have some family problems they have to confront, and they couldn't confront it. They just take their life and take it for granted that they don't want to see the problems. These are responsible male and female, 45 to 54 years old. I see the pressure of life being faced by the vicissitudes of life, you can't just cope with it. So they just take their lives. The highest suicidal rate is among the males. And 1 in 4 young people, aged 17 to 19, now has a probable mental disorder. 17 to 19, teenager. These problems come early in life. And as time goes on, they accumulate. So we have to do something about it. So when I pick up all these questionnaires that summarize into improvement of mental problems, I'm very interested in talking about it because in all my lectures, by the way, I came from Canada. I came all the way from Canada. And I've been talking all over the world, especially in Southeast Asia, about how the Buddhist teaching can contribute to the understanding of mental disorder. The Buddha was talking about many varieties of subjects, not just meditation, not just prostration and superstitiously just bowing and blind faith. The Buddha is talking about how to deal with human problems, how to get to nirvana. Nirvana is not a highly philosophical and abstruse subject. It's a subject that would improve the well-being of mankind. So given all these figures that we know, why don't we explore? I don't know how long this would take. Sometimes, as long as nobody's sleeping. Anybody's sleeping now because this is a subject. Some people just doze off like that. And plus, the light here is the holy light seems to be a little bit not too bright. So they may be sleeping. I hope they're not sleeping. Yeah. We're talking about many people commit suicide or have mental disorder because they have emotions. Emotions, that word emotions has 2 connotations in it. A negative one and a positive one. Not all emotions are negative, So what are emotions? We have unwholesome emotions and we have wholesome emotions. What are unwholesome emotions? Greediness, anger, ignorance, and these are the 3 poisons. The Buddha said these are the 3 poisons. And in the Chinese language, it's tan, chen, qi, greediness, anger, ignorance. That summarize many of the emotions. Now, greediness includes lust, desires, infatuation, anger, rage, hostility, hate, resentment, dislike. Ignorance is depression, sadness, despair, anxiety, self-abasement, self-obsession, self-pity, panic, phobia, worry, nervousness, insecurity. The list is very long. You can name as much as you want. There's so much is included in ignorance. Ignorance can breed a lot of problems. And that word ignorance includes a lot. And these generally are the unwholesome emotions. Of course, this is just the broad categories. There are details underneath it. And what are wholesome emotions? Emotions are not just negative. Joy and love. Joy, happiness, cheerfulness, jubilation, elation, confidence, delight with confidence, enthusiasm, optimism, pride, sense of dignity and love and caring and compassion. Mind you, there's a difference between love and compassion. Love is usually one-sided. Say husband and wife. If the husband loves the wife and if the love is not reciprocated, if the love doesn't love the husband, there'll be problems. So love is always conditional. I love you on the condition that you love me. If you don't, hatred will come out. So love is conditional. But compassion is not. Compassion is unconditional rendering. It's just like when we talk about the Buddha, when we talk about the Bodhisattva, we have a Bodhisattva called Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. And we usually refer to this deity, if you may call it, the Bodhisattva of compassion. Rendering our love without condition. It doesn't matter whether you're related. It doesn't matter who you are. Anyone in need, she's going to render the help out, whether you are related or not. No conditions. Unconditional love is compassion. So there's a difference in it. Okay. So these are generally the emotions. And then we say, yes, we know all these emotions. We have them. Sometimes we express them. Sometimes we see our laboring people always express this. My husband yelled at me. My wife was really, mind you, some people say ladies have a lot of jealousy, you know. The husband said, my wife is always jealous, always suspicious. All kinds of emotions coming out. But where do emotions come from? When you want to analyze the problem, you have to know the origin of the problem. How do they arise? How do emotions arise? Okay, let's dissect into the problem. Where do emotions come from? Come from your own karma. Emotions doesn't come from you who infuriate me. You yell at me, I feel angry. So you are originating my emotions. No. It comes from your own karma. You know what karma is? The karmic energy, your own karma. Of course, you have to analyze karma. What is karma? Karma is a very deep word that requires a lot of clarification. Its superficial meaning is not sufficient to explain it. We really have to delve deeper into what is karma. Okay, what is karma? Karma is energy expressed through thoughts, actions, and speeches. For every karmic energy, there is an equal and opposite reaction to it, expressed through thoughts, actions, and speeches. We are nothing but thoughts, actions, and speeches. All speech originates from a thought. All actions also originate from a thought. So we say, when we are doing meditation, you know what usually the teacher would say? Be mindful. What is be mindful? Watch your mind. And some people say, watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. You don't bad mouth other people. Actually, you should watch not your mouth. The mouth is just a tool. Watch your mind. Because every sentence is uttered from the mind, not from the tongue. The tongue is just a tool. So karma is energy expressed through your thoughts, your actions. What are these actions? Actions, your behavior. Your behavior, bad behavior, wholesome behavior, unwholesome behavior. And then speeches. Speeches are very crucial. Sometimes a sentence can lead to a murder. A sentence can lead to a dispute. So they say, watch your mouth, really. Speeches are very, very crucial, something that you don't just speak anytime you want, you just speak from a thought that does not really consider anything. So remember, karma is an energy. Can you see karma? Can you see energy? You can't see energy. Energy is not to be seen. Ask the scientists, show me what is energy. Energy maybe can be felt. It cannot be seen. It's not perceptible. For example, for every thought of hatred or loving kindness that arises in our mind, there is an equal amount of hatred or loving kindness that eventually returns to us. Do you believe in that? That is cause and effect. For every thought, not just action, thought, for every thought that comes up in you, there is an equal amount of thought, of hatred, that eventually returns to us. You believe that? That's nothing more than the Newton's law of motion. If you're a scientist, you know there's a Newton law of motion. The third law in the Newton law of motion is the law of action and reaction. There's cause and effect, action and reaction. When you push a wall, there's an action. You push a wall, the wall pushes back onto your hand with exactly the same amount of force of reaction. Maybe you don't realize it. When you push a wall, there's an equal amount of force to push you back. How come I can't feel the wall pushing back at me? The hardness of the wall is the pushing back. It's so hard that you can feel it feel the hardness on it. If the wall doesn't push back at you, your hands will go through the wall. It's just the air when you go through it, then you just go through it. But the wall, you push the wall, actually the wall is pushing back at you, which supports the Newton law of motion of action and reaction, because you feel the hardness. You can't go through it. If it's not pushing back at you, your fingers would go through the wall. You ask Newton. He'll tell you that's true. Okay? So your action. So I remember when I was studying at the University of Toronto, I had a job in a very scenic area called Banff in Alberta. I was working as a pantryman in there, and I got another fellow pantryman, and he said, "Oh, they had an argument," and then that young man come out. "Oh, my mom said that everything you do, there is a return to you. So I don't dare to do anything bad because it returns to you finally. That's cause and effect." At that time, I didn't believe it. Nothing. Well, why should I? If I hit you, you don't hit me back. How? So it's not returned to me. But eventually, you will get the same. You will get the same reverse action. So emotions. So suffice it for now that karma is a kind of energy that you have to watch. Don't do anything bad. It returns back to you. You may not see it today. That's what the Buddha said, which coincide with the Newton's law of action and reaction. So where do emotions come from? Your emotions, my emotions. Where do emotions come from? Emotions come from not from this present life. It also comes from your previous lives. Do you believe in reincarnation? Do you believe in you have a previous life? And when I first come into this temple, when I look at the picture of the pioneer, Hunter, Reverend Hunter, who passed away one day while mowing the lawn outside. He built this temple, he built the lamps, he built everything. It's a hands-on monk. He built everything himself. And one day he was mowing a lawn on the slope, and he got into an accident and he lost his life. And when I first entered this temple, when I look at the picture, I was imagining he will come back here in another form. He will come back. This is the temple that he built. I don't know how long ago he passed away. Probably come back, and then there'd be a young man in here, and then he was Japanese in the previous life. It could be a Milton Keynes, local born. I don't know, but he will come back. That's what we call reincarnation. You have come back in many lives. You may not know about it. You come back with your previous life karma. You know, whatever you have done now, whatever you have done in all your previous lives, you think all that you have done in the previous life have been forgotten? No. It's been registered in your karmic field of energy. And the Buddha said that is the 8th consciousness. That is called the alaya consciousness. A-L-A-Y-A. These days we have AI, we have all the information you can get into. What is alaya consciousness? A-L-A-Y-A. Alaya is a Sanskrit word. It means the field of seeds. Imagine acres, millions and acres of land with all the seeds stored underneath the soil, alaya. All that you have done in your previous life, including every thought, not just action. When we talk about karma, we don't talk about just behavior and speeches. We don't just talk about apparently observable and perceivable karma. How about the karmic seeds deep in your consciousness? It's all been planted in there. A thought of compassion, if it is planted in there. So watch your thought. That's the reason why when we are doing meditation, the teacher of meditation would say, be mindful. That means watch every thought that comes up in you. Not just the action, By the time you do the action, it's too late. So when you want to do something bad, if you persist in saying it, it's very dangerous. I read detective books, crime books about crime. If a criminal is harboring an idea that I want to murder this man, I want to kill this man, if the idea is so planted in his mind all the time, very dangerous. He will finally do it without him understanding it, because it's been planted in his mind that I want to do this, I want to revenge, I want to revenge. Every action, every speech, every sentence, every word, as a matter of fact, is uttered, it's expressed initially as a thought. So your thought gives rise to every speech, gives rise to every action. When every speech, every action is repeatedly done, is habitually repeatedly done, it becomes what? It becomes a habit. If that thought is repeatedly done, say, if you are repeatedly being hardworking, it becomes your hardworking habit. If you're repeatedly being lazy, you become very lazy. If you're repeatedly being very clean in your kitchen work, then you're a cleaner. If you're repeatedly being very lousy in throwing things around, you have a habit of throwing things around, you become a very, you're not a clean man. So your every thought give rise to action and speech. If the actions and speech is repeated all the time, it becomes a habit. If a habit is being repeated all the time, if all these habits are being repeated all the time, it becomes what? Your personality. It becomes your personality. You're very dangerous. You're repeating your bad habits or good habits, becomes your personality. Your personality determines what? Determines your destiny. So don't blame your mom and dad. Blame yourself. If you have bad habits, you cultivate, it becomes your personality. Your personality would determine whether you are successful or you fail. Present life karma and past life karma. Our karmic energy has been accumulating from one life to the next as we continue to experience rebirth. Why do we get born in a certain family? Your own karma brought you to it. Some people are born in rich families, some in poor family, some in places that they want to go, some in places that they want to go. It's all determined by your own karma. There's a karmic energy by your own karma. Okay, so remember, your karma is not just about this life, about your previous life. Then some people will say, that is unfair. I don't know what I did in your previous life. So I did something bad in my previous life. Now I reincarnate into a poor family, for example. Why would he be reincarnated in a good family? That's unfair. No. Who did it? You yourself did it. You did something, you've got to be responsible for it. It's not unfair. Nobody did it, yourself. You got what you reap what you sowed. We say karma, action, speech, and thought. Now, we are talking about mental disorder. Why do we bring this out? Because these are the basic understanding before we deal with mental disorder. Mental disorder is about the mind. The mind is about the karma. The mind is highly related to your karma. What you experience through highly related to your karma. If you don't understand how your mind works, how do you deal with your mental disorder? Some people at this point may say, hey, this monk is talking about karma, has nothing to do with mental disorder. No, mental disorder is about mentality, about your mind, about your consciousness. So you have to understand your own mind. How can you not understand your mind if you want to understand? When we say meditation, some people say, I want to learn meditation. Then did you learn how your mind works? Meditation is about the mind. That's the reason why people say, be mindful. So let's study one's own mind. And if you talk to a neuroscientist, he would probably agree. Anybody studying neuroscience would say, yes, it's about the mind. Mental disorder. If we want to resolve the problem in mental disorder, we want to know exactly what the mind is functioning, how the mind works. If you know how your mind works, you know how other people's mind work. If you understand, there's a saying in Buddhism. The Buddha said, if one understands the mind thoroughly, there's nothing in the world that he will not understand. He will understand every inch of the world if you understand your mind. Okay? So, karma. Karma gives rise to action. There's bad karma, good karma, to speech, good speech, thought, bad, good thought. So, action will involve with killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, intoxication. This is bad karma related to action. Good karma, renounce killing, protect life, renounce stealing, practice generosity, give up sexual misconduct, and practice discipline. So I'm just summarizing it. Of course, there's a lot of details in it. Right now, I'm just answering a question about improving well-being, and this is supposed to be a course in the study of consciousness. I just take out some piecemeal information, just to satisfy everybody's knowledge about the mind. Speech, bad speech, lying, immoral language, slandering, gossiping, and flattery. Good karma, telling the truth, abandon harsh words, speak pleasantly. And thought, bad thought, greediness, hatred, anger, jealousy, cruelty, arrogance, vengeance, deceiving, egotistic, and wrong views. These are related to the thought. And good thought, renounce greediness, generous, compassion, honesty, and harmony. Of course, in the Buddhist teaching, we call it, there are three very important canons. The first one is discipline. The second one, it's samatha, which is to let go of wandering thoughts. The third one is wisdom. So the first one is really discipline. One cannot be a Buddhist without observing good discipline. No matter what you practice, whether you practice any kind of Buddhism, whether Pure Land Buddhism, Tiantai Buddhism, Zen Buddhism, Vajrayana Buddhism, any kind of Buddhism, one has to what? To be a nice person. That's the basic foundation. If you cannot even be a good person, how can you practice the Buddhist teaching? The basis is the discipline. So that's the reason why we have to take the 3 refuges, and also we have to take the 5 precepts. Abstain from killing, abstain from lying, abstain from sexual misconduct, abstain from intoxication. All this, we call it the Vinaya, the disciplines. So that's the reason why a good Buddhist is a highly disciplined individual. Being a disciplined individual does not mean that you're too honest to be in the outside world. There's a lot of deceiving to do, no. Some people will say, if I don't eat meat when I go out to entertain people, then I would be like a dumbbell. You know, I can't eat anything. I can drink wine, I can drink anything. But our view is, if you're dealing with a businessman, if the other side of the businessman said that, oh, this guy is disciplined, he will be too willing to trade with you. Do you like to do business with an honest man or a dishonest man? Honest man. Do you like to do business with a disciplined person or undisciplined sexual misconduct man? Of course you want to deal with a good man. So it's always the opposite view. People would think it's right. It's right to be bad because everybody is bad anyway, so I can be bad. Otherwise I can't mix with them. That's the wrong view. Okay? Now let's move on. Negative emotions lead to mental disorder. Depression, anxiety, sadness, despair, rage, fear, suspiciousness, autism, self-pity, it can go on. And then all this originated from what? Ego attachment, manas, vijnana. I will go on to analyze how we think, so I'm not going to get into the ego attachment right now. Every individual, everyone in here have 8 minds. People say, I only have 1 mind. I have only 1 consciousness, but actually you have 8 consciousnesses. And we'll slowly talk about it. This is a course that takes about 1 semester to do. I'm just doing it in 1.5 hours. This is one semester to study consciousness, but I'm just squeezing it into 1.5 hours. It's a tough job for me. I'm willing to take the challenge. I always like to take the challenge. It's impossible to talk about the mind in 1.5 hours. But I hope that when you walk out of here, you have some information that you like to research on later. Something that you can think about. Something that you can say, oh, I have nothing else to do. Why don't I get into the AI and get some information about what the Buddha is talking about consciousness? That's the time. And actually, when you have nothing to do, don't just get into YouTube, entertainment, British Got Talent, whatever you want. It all starts from Britain, Yeah. So when you have time, get into the AI to study how you think, how you actually think. Your mental disorder adversely affected your health, family, your job, your studies, your marriage, your career, your business, public relations, simply to affect every aspect of your life. Now, I'm getting into the crux of the problem. How do we think? How do we think every day, every second? How do we use our minds? So what is our mental experience? First of all, we have an external environment. Now, I did this based on Buddhist teaching. Imagine 2,600 years ago, there was a saint called Sakyamuni Buddha. He revealed all these. I didn't create these things. I got it from the Buddhist teaching. The Buddha was a neuroscientist. He could understand every aspect of the whole brain, actually, if you really want to do into neuroscience. So let's talk about what is the outside world. I am an individual in here. What are things surrounding me? The Buddha classified this into 5 categories. What is outside? Objects. These are objects. What are objects made up of? Molecules, elements, protons, electrons. But these are objects. These are matter. So object, every object. Sound. Other than objects, there is sound, right? Other than sound, there's also smell. I am smelling something now, smell. Other than smell, there's the taste. My tongue tastes, right? My tongue tastes. All these other objects, I also touch, tactility, touch. These are the outside. The Buddha put all the outside environment, every object is outside, classified into object, sound, smell, taste, and touch. Any others? It's all inclusive. Have you got any other things that the Buddha hasn't included in here? I can't think of any, because the touch actually encapsulates everything. Everything in the world, a tree, a bottle, water, sound, the sound now, everything. So how do we, as an individual, know all these outside environments? How do we get to know them? Isn't that scientific? We're not talking about blind faith, burning an incense and kneeling down and chanting without actually knowing the concept of it. There's deep philosophical concept in what the Buddha was talking about. It's not just blind faith. You may have misunderstood Buddhism. Nothing about blind faith. Nothing about just crossing your legs, putting your tongue on top of your roof of your mouth, and then meditate and pretend to be a Shaolin monk. And then when you get up, you do this exercise and do this kung fu. Has nothing to do with what the Buddha was talking about. It's just the later commercials that involve into this kind of thing. But it gets into people that people think about, this is what the Buddha is talking about. No. Okay, how do we perceive these external environments? Perception through the 5 sensory organs that we have, right? What are these organs that we have? We have the eye consciousness, interact with objects. The ear consciousness, interact with sound. Smell, your nose interact with smell. Your tongue interact with taste. Your body interact with tactility, your touch. So these are your 5 sensory organs that are crude. In other words, these are the front-end salesmen of your body. The front-end salesmen of a company sit right at the counter. They are the front-end people. But a company is more than just front-end people. There's the manager in there. There's the board of directors in there. Finally, there's also the shareholders. So if you just look at the front end, oh, the front end is the company, and you're wrong. The front end is just the front end. Your front end is just the ears, the nose, the tongue, and the body, and they're the front end. But do you know that there's more behind you? Not just your senses. What are these? Your cognition, we call it. If you study modern psychology, you know cognition. Cognition is in the Sanskrit language. You know what Sanskrit is? Sanskrit is the original classical language spoken by the Buddha at the time of the Buddha. So most of the Buddhist teachings were written in Sanskrit. In India, in the ancient days, there are two very common languages. One is Sanskrit and one is Pali. Pali was spoken by the common people, billions and billions of common people. Sanskrit was spoken by the royal family. They have a differentiation because it's a hierarchical society in India. So the higher level is the Sanskrit and the lower level is the Pali spoken by the mass people. And most of the writings were written in Sanskrit and as well in Pali. Okay, so we're talking about our 5 sensory organs. Remember, we're talking about mental disorder. We cannot talk about it without understanding your mind. So we are studying and analyzing the mind right now. So perception. Cognition is the 6th consciousness, which is we call the mano consciousness. And this consciousness is the cognitive process, including interpretation, rationalization of the perception. So when I see flowers, my eyes don't know it's flowers. My eyes reflect the flowers like the lens of a camera back to my cognition. My cognition will go to the previous files. Oh yeah, I see this carnation. This carnation is green, is yellow, is brown. Oh, this is daisy. This is hibiscus. This is rhododendron. This is azalea. And the differentiation does not come from the eyes. The eyes just perceive it, and then your cognition rationalizes it, remembers it, and interprets it. So in other words, if I can use an analogy of a company, all these front-end salesmen and sales lady behind, they have a manager. And the manager can dig into the archive files. Salesman and sales lady, they don't have the time to do that. But the manager is always making the decision behind. No, this is an old client, this is a good client, this is a bad client. So cognition is really the mano consciousness, which is the 6th consciousness. And you do all rationalization, remembering, interpretation from your brain, from your 6th consciousness, not from your eyes, certainly not from your nose to make a decision, not from your tongue. And sometimes they make wrong decisions. Most of the time they make wrong decisions. You know what wrong decisions the tongue makes? The tongue makes wrong decisions. The tongue wants to taste the flesh and blood of animals. That's why you are meat eating. Your tongue wants to taste the flesh and blood of animals. That's why you slaughter animals for food. The Buddha said that's not the right thing to do. Your tongue mistakenly wants to attach to the flesh and blood of animals. Then you pork chops, you have steak, you have lobsters, you kill them for food. So all Buddhists, they're all vegetarian. They don't kill animals for food. Now, I'm just giving you an example. Okay, there's the cognitions, mano 6 consciousness. And then this mano cognitions cognize all images of the past, present, and future. So how come you remember the past? That's from your cognition, not from your eyes. Not from your nose. They refer to the past. They can also budget for the future, like a manager. Your mano, your 6th consciousness, also think, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to analyze this. That is from your cognitive, which is your 6th consciousness. And then you have a 7th consciousness that most people don't even know. We call it the ego. Your ego is always there, the manas, this ego consciousness. It personalized the foregoing consciousnesses with a self. Your ego always personalizes everything. I like you, I hate you. This is poor, this is rich. I love this guy, I hate this guy. This is the face I like. I like rich people. I don't like poor people. Why do you make all this differentiation? You have an ego in you. You personalize everything. You're born with it. You may not know about it. You carry with it from your previous life. Some people's seven consciousness is really heavy and strong. They stigmatize everything. They discriminate everything. They have very discriminatory approach to everything. Mind you, I like London. You know why I like London? I've been traveling just for the past 20 days. I've been to Venice. I've never been to Europe, so I went to Venice, Switzerland, Basel, Bern, the place where Einstein was born, right? And when I come to London, I said, wow, I find very few discriminatory person, which I find in other parts of the world. And it seems to me I come back to Hong Kong. Hong Kong is like a multicultural part of the Far East and Asia and Europe, you know, and everybody it's a hot pot, it's a mixed pot of everything. So they don't discriminate against each other. You are a stranger before you. So when I come to London, everybody is almost like the same. It's very good. I love London. London Street is the same as Hong Kong Street. Hong Kong copy from London when they're building the bridges and the streets. Wide streets. London is like the Tsim Sha Tsui of Hong Kong. Don't you think so? Yeah, London. Wide streets with trams and it's lovely. I like it, yeah. When I go to Europe, I find that the alleys are too narrow for me, especially when I was at Venice. You know, you go through the narrow lanes, but very lovely though, very lovely country. So, ego. You have an ego, I have an ego. That's the problem, that's our problem. But if you realize the problem, there's a way out. Some people in their whole life, they don't realize that they have an ego to deal with. Everything they do, they attach a thick ego to it. That leads to serious mental problem. Okay? So their ego personalize everything and arouse all these bad emotions in you. You get angry, you get jealous, you get sick of everything, you don't like, you dislike this. You know, it's almost like an ego get you into trouble. And in meditation, we say the first lesson in doing meditation is to let go. Let go of what? Let go of what? When you're a meditator, your teacher meditation said, let go. Well, let go of what? Let ego. Let go of your ego. You think it's difficult? It may be easy for the first minute, second minute, third minute, you never let go. You attach it back again. And when I was at my temple in Vancouver, I had a meditation hall. And I deliberately have 10 doors right at the front of the meditation hall. 10 doors. And in the beginning of a meditation session, everybody said, sit down and started to meditate. I said, there's a certain procedures I go through. That's how you cross your leg, and how do you do all this preliminary work. And finally I said, okay, everybody imagine that I give you an invisible bag. A bag? I give you an invisible bag and you take it. So everybody take this invisible bag. Put all your problems in it. Put your egotistic problem in it, all your problem in it, tie it up and throw it out that door before you meditate. That's the reason why I have 10 doors for you. We have 100 meditators. I have 10 doors for you. Throw out all your garbage of egotistic feelings. So everybody was imagining, okay, tossed out this invisible egotistic bag of emotion, toss it out before you can do the meditation. Get rid of all your garbage before you clean up the house. So ego, your 7th consciousness is your ego. So what is your 8th consciousness? The store of present and past coming energy. Everybody has an alaya consciousness, which is your banking consciousness. It carries all your debit and credit. Any accountant in here? It carries all your debit and credit. Yeah. All your debit, all your credit, you all get into there. Whatever you have done, All the good deeds you have done, you think nobody would observe it, nobody noticed it, nobody would appreciate it? No. The banking consciousness inside of you stored it. You have spoken a word of good deeds, nobody know about it. If not even God, nobody know about it. Your own consciousness, the alive consciousness already have registered that into your banking consciousness, which is in you. You have done something bad and nobody has seen it. I've done something bad. Oh, good, I'm free, but the police never catch me. I've done some criminal stuff and nobody see me, I'm free. You think you're free? You may be free for this life, but all that is stored in your alaya consciousness. It can't go away automatically. So watch everything that you have done. And also, this store consciousness, when a person dies, all this perception is gone. Your eyes is gone, your ears, your nose, your tongue, your body. There was a Swedish writer said, our body is our traveling bag of existence. It's just, our body is just like a traveling bag in this whole world. You only live up to 100 years. And after 100 years, you're gone. It's just like a traveling bag. Or you can say your body is just like a hotel. You check in for this life. You don't think you have to check out. One day you have to check out. You're checking in, you're checking out, like you're going in a hotel. But then you think everything is forgotten in you, all the good deeds that you have done. All the good deeds that you have done for your sons or daughters, they didn't show them their filial piety, don't care about you. How about all the good deeds you have done for your sons and daughters? You think they'll be forgotten? No, it's all stored. All the good deeds you store in your consciousness never go away. All the bad things you have done also, at the same time, it's registered in there. Watch it. Okay, so we have all these 8 consciousnesses. So when a person dies, the first 5 sensory organs are gone. No more exist. And then your cognition, your brain. You think your brain exists? It doesn't exist anymore. Your brain dies out. How about your ego? Your ego at the verge of death, when you die, it shrinks into the store consciousness. It shrinks into the store consciousness and stored in there. And that store consciousness is the last energy that leaves your body. So in other words, your eyes gone, you can see, you can hear, you can taste, but it all gets right into the storage consciousness. And within 8 hours, that alaya consciousness would leave your body. Where does it leave your body? I have a whole story to tell you, but I've got no time. But in other words, there are 6 places in which your alaya consciousness leaves your body after 8 hours. If it is from the eyes, from your energy, your 8 consciousness energy, the alaya energy, everything is dead. But the last that leaves your eye is through your eyes, you'll be reborn in heaven. Your eyes will be reborn in heaven. Which heaven? We don't know. There's 28 heavens. There are heavens, but according to what the Buddha said, heavens are not the final place to go. When you have served all your happiness in heaven, you still have to reincarnate. You have to get out even from heaven. You have to go a higher level than heaven. So heaven is a good place to go, but it's not the ultimately good place to go. So if it leaves from your eyes, you go to heaven. If it leaves from your the middle body, it'd be a human realm. So reborn as human again. If it leaves through the kneecaps, you'll be reborn as animal realms. If it leaves through the bottom of your feet, you go down to hell. You suffer in hell. So there are certain places that it last leaves your body, but that involves a lot of explanation to do. If it goes from the top, the crown of your head, you'll be reborn in the Buddha's land. You'll be born in Anuttara Samya Sambuddhi. We call it Nirvana. You bond it with nirvana. Nirvana is outside the world of existence. You talk beyond heaven, beyond existence. That is something that cannot be explained by words. Words have limitation. Human interpretation of words have limitation. But that is outside the subject of my talk. And we talk about all these. Can we carry on now? Are you sleeping? Anybody sleeping now? No, you're not sleeping, right? So far you're okay. I'm not sleeping too, so you're okay. Okay, so remember all these 8 consciousnesses everybody has. Everybody has these 8 consciousnesses. Okay, let's carry on. Okay, why do emotions arise? Let's look at it from a worldly perspective. Because we cannot let go. We cannot let go. Our senses habitually attached to external objects arousing wholesome and unwholesome emotions. When we get into the argument, we always cannot let go of it. It bounds our ego. So anybody who knows how to shed the ego off at that time, or simply speaking, just to walk away from the scene of argument. So if a husband and wife get into an argument, heated arguments, if both hit each other, you can never come up to anything good. If one retract and get away from the scene, it starts to improve it, because the violence doesn't come immediately. So because nobody can let go. Nobody can let go during the argument. The one who can let go is the hero of the two, or the heroine of the two. But nobody would let go at that time. Our senses habitually attached to external objects arousing unwholesome and unwholesome emotions. Now, our eyes, when we see matter, the vision consciousness comes up. It's just like seeing a sensual object arousing sensual desire. So when a teenager, when someone sees something very sensual, very, very, so to speak, sexy, then it triggers into the cognition consciousness. The eyes itself would not feel the sensual pleasure or sensuality. It reflects back to the mono consciousness. The mono consciousness would immediately go to the past file in which he treasures the time that he thinks is ecstasy. He thinks that's the time when they feel the pleasure, and that pleasure would triggers him to do whatever he wants to do. Even that kind of pleasure would trigger him to create that arousal of the physical alteration immediately at that time. So that means the eyes trigger the vision. The ears interact with sound, being insulted, arousing anger, being complimented, feeling delight. You immediately have that feeling. That's the feeling. You cannot let go of that feeling, even good feeling or bad feeling. The nose, smell, olfaction, consciousness, resenting pungent odor, attaching to fragrant smell, tongue, taste, indulging in meat eating, leading to animal slaughtering, body, touch to tactility, attaching to material luxuries, arousing habitual greediness, and then the mind, mano, attaching to past memories, arousing resentment or regret. You always try to remember the past good times. When something mishap happened that brings you tragic memory, whenever you want to remember it, you always bring that tragic moment back on the present table, and then you ponder on it and you cry, you feel sad. Actually, whatever has happened is already gone, but you still want to pick up the past files, put it on your table and try to examine it. So what is the time dimension? The time dimension is the present, the past, and the future, right? Watch your present moment, be aware of the present moment. But some people like always to bring the past onto the present, to ruminate on it. How come I got this? How come it's not fair to me? But that is something already happened. But you have the habit of bringing what happened in the past back onto the present table and ruminate on it, ponder on it, agonize on it, try to act on it. Isn't that, so to speak, stupid? Something already happened. You would not allow that to happen, yet you want to remember. You want to bring it back on the present and ruminate on it and get sad about it, and then you make revenge on it. So that's not letting go. So you have to learn to let go. Now, after learning about the nature of emotion, we must begin to learn how to deal with the emotions, right? So how much time I already have? I already have spent about 1 hour just to explain the brain and the mind. I haven't gotten into the crux of the problem. Now we know the mind that we should deal with, how to deal with these problems. I have to do it in very fast, in the next half an hour, how to deal with it. And let's go ahead with it. Are you okay so far? Yes. Isn't that too boring for you? No, it wouldn't be too boring, right? No. Okay, now we say, a lot of people like say meditation. But you do, actually meditation is kind of mental therapy. If we want to use modern terms, meditation is not, spiritual, Buddhist, something religious. No, it's a mental therapy. Now, in meditation, there's 2 aspects in a meditation. One is stabilization, and one is introspection. Stabilization, in Sanskrit is samatha. Samatha is to stop your wandering thought. Introspection is called vipassana. Now, you can always get into AI to find out more information about it. So meditation is broken into 2 parts, the samatha and the vipassana. Simple English terms is stabilize your mind first. Now, when you want to stabilize your mind, you must have an object of attention. Now, imagine our mind is like a monkey mind. It jumps from one branch to another. One branch is called greediness. He hangs on the greediness. The other branch is called anger. He hangs on the anger. Hangs on the depression, anxiety, fear, phobia. He jumps from branch to branch, non-stop. Jump from branch to branch. However, if you are the master of that monkey mind, you put that monkey on a leash. You put that monkey on a leash, this allowed it to jump from one branch to another. So, in other words, you must need an object of attention to gear your desultory thinking, to gear it, to control it. In other words, you change your attention from the wandering mind filled with desultory thoughts. You want to control that mind, you want to gear that mind to another attention. And some people like to meditate on a candle. So I'm meditating on a candle. That means every second my mind is flickering. My mind is like a neuron in my brain that spikes all the time. So I want to put my attention not on the wandering thoughts, but on an object. And some people like to use a candle. The Buddha said the best is to use your own breath. In other words, you feel your breath in and you feel your breath out. What is the most akin to you, the closest to you? The candle is so far away from you. I can meditate on a flower, right? My attention, I don't want my wandering mind to be thinking about yesterday, the future, what I did just now, talk about Mr. A, Mr. B, what work I'm going to do tomorrow. I got a budget to meet. Will I cook dinner for myself or go out for dinner? You have all kinds of thoughts, right? You use one thought to gear that wandering thoughts to just one. And the Buddha said, use your breath as that object. Don't wander your mind, use your thought. Why do you use your breath? The in and out breath. Because your breath is the closest to you. What is more close to you than your breath to your body? Every time when you're breathing, you need that breath, right? Why don't you use a candle? Candle is so far away. You use something that is so akin to your body, so vital to your body. So that's the breath. Then how do you use the breath to stop other thoughts? You just concentrate. I'm breathing in, my breath is in. Anapana, in and out, in and out. I'm just concentrating my thought on my breath so that my thought will not be wandering to my company, my family, my car, supermarket to buy something, or buy a handbag, or going traveling. I mean, you've got all kinds of greediness, hatred, jealousy, all kind of thoughts. Now, you don't want those thoughts. I'm meditating now. I want to put my attention to just my in and out breath, and that is called anapana. Ana is a Sanskrit word, is in and out. So I'm meditating in here. I don't have to cross my leg really. I just you don't really have to cross your leg in meditation. You just can put both legs on the floor. Some people cannot cross legs. Why do you have to force your legs to cross your leg? You don't need to. You just, as long as you can relax yourself, put both legs on the floor, put both hands on your kneecap, and then comfortably sit in there and say, my breath in, my breath out, in and out. You don't have to lengthen your breath. You don't shorten it. Just naturally, as you breathe every day, in and out, in and out. And in now, out now. So the object of attention is your breath. You focus on your in and out breathing. Now that would stop all your wandering thought, because now your attention is on your breath. Don't hold it, don't lengthen it, don't shorten it. Just naturally watch it in and out. Some people like to count. So you count, you count in 1, in 2, in 3. You just count in, or you just count it out. Why can't you count in and out, in and out? Because if you count in 1, out 2, in 1, out 2, it becomes so mechanical. Too mechanical that sometimes you may lose the attention. You just count it in, or you count it out, whatever you choose. Okay, that is, you use that as the object of stabilization. And then introspection, the 4 foundations of mindfulness. Now that requires some attention. The 4 foundations of mindfulness, we call it satipatthana. Now all these, you cannot get a hold of everything in just 1 hour of talk. The purpose of my talk is not to show you everything. It's impossible for me to tell you everything in 1.5 hours. The purpose of my talk is to initiate your interest in knowing yourself, knowing your own mind, understanding, watching the movie of your own mind. People like to pay to watch a movie. A movie, the script of the movie is written by somebody else. Somebody else wrote a script, you see a movie. Your mind is the script that you write yourself. Are you not interested in your own script? It's an enjoyment to watch your in and out breath, to sit still and quiet and watch how this works. So that is stabilization, is to stop your wandering mind. And then we say, you just stopped it, you haven't dissolved it. It will still come out. When I'm doing meditation, yes, within that half hour or 15 minutes or 10 minutes, I can control my mind. But what happens when I come out from a meditation? Then I start wondering, my thought is never ending. A thought is never ending. Your mind is 24/7. Your mind is very powerful. It's 24/7. It does not stop, even when you're sleeping. When you're sleeping, you have all kinds of dreams. Your mind has never stopped. If your mind stopped, you're dead. I mean, you won't stop your mind 24/7. But your mind is accountable for your whole life. You really have to know it. You really have to understand it. So once you can stop the wandering mind, there are certain foundations of mindfulness. You have to know how to introspect in relation to the body, to the feeling, introspection of the mind, the mentality, and the mental impressions. So that requires a lot of explanation. I hope that I can just initiate some interest in you and we can go further. We call it the satipatthana. When you are meditating, focus on the breath. Usually people close their eyes. Then your eyes not attaching to externalities. Your ears, your environment could be quiet. So you already let go of the sound. You don't attach to any sound. You're not listening to music. You don't listen to music when you're meditating. You're polluting your ears. Some people like to turn on soft music when you're doing meditation. No. You let go of the ear consciousness. You let go of the nose consciousness, you let go of the tongue consciousness, but your breath is still there. You let go of your thought. No inner commentator break your habitual continuation of desultory thinking of the past and future. Attention to present breath, live your present moment here and now. Now all these, I can only tell you piecemeal information without giving you the full picture. But before I end this mental therapy, which is called silence meditation, I'd like to go into something very important, that is your chanting meditation. The power of mantra chanting. During chanting, chanting is meditation. Don't think that chanting is superstitious. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme. Did you think superstitious? Chanting is a kind of sound therapy. During chanting, our physiological changes are occurring. Our nervous system is being affected by our own self-created sounds. The effectiveness of the power of chanting depends on focus, intention, repetition, vocalization, and visualization. This will produce effect. When chanting has become a habit with the persistent firmness of intent, the effect will come to you. We need a lot of time to talk about the power of chanting, but I have to go fast. So, sound therapy. Scientists have discovered that certain brain waves, frequencies, especially the alpha and theta, may relieve stress and anxiety, facilitate a deep physical relaxation and mental clarity, increase verbal ability and also the performance of IQ, EQ, and verbal, better synchronize the two hemispheres of the brain. We have both two hemispheres of the brain, right? The left hemisphere and the right hemisphere, their functions are different. But if you can synchronize it, you can do it by chanting to synchronize the both. It reduces pain, promote euphoria, and as a result of stimulating the release of endorphins. It's all proven by neuroscience. If you chant, you listen back to the chanting, it improves your whole body. Don't think that chanting is superstitious. Why do people do Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum? There's a reason to it. Anything that is repeatedly done produces power. The power comes from repetition. If you're repeatedly doing something great, the greatness will come to you. If you're repeatedly doing something bad, you're in deep trouble. So don't do the bad stuff. Don't repeat it. The power of chanting. For thousands of years, mantra chanting has been successfully used by men as a powerful healing mechanism. Many researchers have proven that the healing properties of sound, including ultrasound and consciousness-altering audible sound, can work gradually and gently to return to the body's own vibration to the natural state. The highly focused and fast vibrations used in ultrasound is now being used in hospitals to break up kidney stones. So in other words, sound frequency can be converged into a power that you don't need operation. It pierces through your flesh to break your stone bladder, your bladder, the stones in your bladder. And it continues to develop in sound therapy. So every chant in you is germinating a seed in your alaya consciousness. It's absolutely important. Sound is very important to you. And music is produced from orchestrated sound. Guitar, violin, piano, cello, whatever you want to call it. It's orchestrated sound. The difference between orchestrated sound and human-produced sound is human-produced sound is more spiritual and more effective. You may not believe it. There's a lot of proof in that. The most powerful sound does not come from machines, does not come from equipment. It's from your own mind. Your own mind produces the most effective sound. Sound vibrations can lower heart rate variability, relax brainwave patterns, and reduce respiratory rates. So don't underestimate the power of chanting. Certain sounds help to synchronize our fluctuating brain waves by providing a stable frequency which the brain waves can attune to. By using a repetition of rhythm and frequency, we can harmonize our brain waves. As I said, sound, if it is repeated all the time, will produce effect. From our regular awakening mind in the beta state to a relaxed mind of the alpha state, then to a meditative state, which is the theta state, then to a deep meditative state, we call it the delta state. If you're in the delta state, you are in deep-seated meditation. In mantra chanting, it is the frequency of the sound vibrations that is being applied to the healing process. In meditation therapy, it is the transformation of consciousness that's being applied in the healing process. So, learn how to chant. Pick up a few really spiritual and vintage, ancient mantra. That will be very helpful, particularly if you know the meaning. The power of chanting a mantra or sutra, an effective sound therapy to mental afflictions. Orchestrated sound is powerful enough, but more powerful is our human consciousness sound. Self-created sounds such as chanting a mantra or sutra will cause the left and right hemispheres of the brain to synchronize. Left hemisphere. What is the left hemisphere of the brain? It's the ego center, including all learning, logical reasoning, analysis, language center to describe, define, and categorize and communicate emotion center. Your left hemisphere is the emotion center. Now, the right hemisphere, the spiritual hemisphere, abounding with divinity, emphatic, blissful, peaceful tranquility, inward contemplation, and free of attachment and non-self. So develop the right hemisphere. I think there's a book, I don't know if some people read it, A Stroke of Insight. Have you read that book, A Stroke of Insight? In which there was a neuroscientist, a PhD in neuroscience. She is, I forgot her name, I think her name is Jones. Jill Taylor. Well, you can always research into that book, Jill Taylor. Jill Taylor, she is a hemorrhage, and he got a stroke, he couldn't move. He's a neuroscientist, right? He couldn't move. He had a stroke, and he had to stay in bed for 6 years, or 8 years. But during the time when it was like a plantation in the hospital, because she is a neuroscientist, she knew that the right hemisphere of the brain or the left hemisphere of the brain, they can synchronize each other. So he's using what he known about the brain to heal his harmed, damaged brain. And after, I think 8 years, she almost recovered 95%, putting down all the information that she had experienced through, and she came out recovered. She was a vegetation for eight years in the hospital. And that book contained details of how, during the time that he was sick, how he synchronized both hemispheres and helped her to recover. Recitation of sacred mantras, sutras, actually causes the right hemisphere of the brain, in effect, body and mind, to become attuned with divine energy. When one chants a mantra for an extended period of time, one's vibration of sound frequency can invoke the higher energies of the Bodhisattvas, of the Buddha, becoming one and unite with their energies. So you can unite the energies. There's a very famous mantra, and it's called the 6 syllables mantra. We call it Om Mani Padme Hum. Have you ever heard of that mantra? If you heard of that mantra, raise your hands. Om Mani Padme Hum. It's a very famous mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum. And chanting the mantra invokes the powerful benevolent attention and blessings of Avalokiteshvara, the embodiment of compassion. When you are chanting this mantra, for example, some people attach it to superstition. You blindly believe in a deity, but actually that is not, because the mantra itself contains a lot of meaning in it. It's just like it's a grand universal channel station in the clouds, and you just tap into that energy. The mantra itself is the energy that's so after thousands of years, so converge in that energy station. And when you are chanting, you are actually like tapping online onto that energy to get linked to it. Because right now you have a cell phone, you have network, online network, then you know about the power of this. 50 years ago, we don't know. 50 years, 60 years ago, we don't have a cell phone. But now our cell phone can actually tap into millions of miles away. And so is the discovery of quantum physics. So your mind when you are chanting, you're actually tapping into that energy that would be helpful to you. Like in quantum physics, we call it quantum entanglement. Einstein said that two particles, one particle here, another particle in here, that particle could be millions of miles away, but if they are related, if one vibrates, the other vibrates at the same time. Let me give you an analogy. Online, right now, people, some station are selling love bond bracelet. Have you heard of that thing? Love bond bracelet. Two lovers, one in China, the other in Milton Keynes. And there's a bracelet on sale. If one person press a button in there, the other, the wife, can feel the vibration. That means, oh, I love you, I'm thinking about you. The vibration happened in two places, millions of miles away. The analogy is the same. When you are chanting a mantra, you tap into that energy. That energy is about the energy of compassion. You tap into that energy, you're vibrating with it, and when you're vibrating with it, you are being affected by it. So it's always good to be chanting all the time. For example, Om Mani Padme Hum. You want to try it out with me? Put your palms together like that, and you hold it like, look as if you're holding a lotus flower. You're holding a lotus flower like that. Imagine a lotus flower is being held in your hand. And then you do this, and you chant Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 What's the meaning of Om Mani Padme Hum? It's right there. I show you right on the screen. Om is the origin of all sounds and benevolent deeds. The origin of all good deeds. In other words, one has to be disciplined, one has to be good. Om is the origin of all sound. Matne is the most precious jewel, symbolizing the Buddha nature. Everyone has that Buddha nature in you. You have that Buddha nature, no matter who you are, even a doggy, a dog, a cat, all living things, you have that Buddha nature in that being. That Buddha nature will be revealed someday. So Mani is that most precious Buddha nature. How do we reveal that Buddha nature? How do we get it revealed? Padme means lotus, symbolizing purification of the eight consciousnesses, aiming towards enlightenment. So Padme is, if you want to realize that Buddha nature in you, so you have to learn to be pure in your eight consciousness. Your eyes must be pure, your ear, your nose, your body, your taste, your tongue. Your ego has to be washed out. Wash out your egotistic feeling. Wash out your ego. Wash out all the bad stuff inside your consciousness. Once you wash it all out, you purify all that, you're aiming towards enlightenment. How do you wash out all the pollutants in your consciousness? Oh, there's lots of ways. One of the many ways is to discipline yourself as a foundation. To to get away from all evil deeds, only to do good deeds. So Padme is like a lotus flower. A lotus flower is formed from the mud. It's aloof from the mud. So learn how to purify your consciousness. Home is, every time the mantra is invoked, a Bodhi seed, a bija, is planted in your alaya consciousness. So every word that utter, it will be planted in your consciousness and it won't go away. So there's Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Now, I've been talking for 1.5 hours. I haven't even started. Really, I'm telling you the truth. It takes the whole semester. It takes a whole semester to really understand your own brain, your mind, and how to deal with it, how to meditate, and what's the proper way to meditation, how to do stabilization, and how to do introspection. And all these requires a lot of knowledge, a lot of practice. Talking about meditation is not just one-time deal. I do meditation, now I'm purified. No, it's a constant repetition of exercise. As I said from the very beginning, the power comes from repetition, from the training. You have to train your mind to be good. So my talk can only give you some information, and I hope that it arouse some interest in you. And if you really want to, I give you some more information. Here, this is my temple in Vancouver. This is my temple in Vancouver. It stands about 13 acres. And this is an aerial view of the temple. I'll give you some pictures. This is the outside compound of the temple. This is at night. This is our meditation hall. We can accommodate about, 200 people, 200-300 people. And this is the meditation hall. And then this is inside the shrine. This is the huge big Buddha. This is a 30 feet high Buddha. 30 feet high Buddha in Vancouver, in my temple. And this is where I was teaching to a group of meditators in one of the hall. And this is where we do our rituals. Where before we eat our lunch, we have to go do some rituals. And this is the garden that we created. This is one part of the garden. It's about 1 or 2 acres. And this is another part of the garden where we have a pond. We have a lot of trees around, and just like Milton Keynes. Milton Keynes is a green city. We are also. We could do all kinds of trees. And by the way, we have a lot of trees that are resembling the same trees as in here. Like you have a very beautiful Japanese maple in there. That's the Japanese maple. They have some evergreen in here, like Japanese black pine, and some of this are evergreen, and some of them are deciduous trees. This is our one part of our garden where we have some feature rocks in there. And this is another part of the garden. And this is where we do our forest meditation. We do it in the open. We do it under the trees. We're doing forest traditions of the meditation. We have about 200 people in here. And this is how we do the walking. Meditation is in many forms. Walking meditation, chanting meditation, sitting meditation. This is walking meditation. We're walking in a mountain. We're going up to a lake on top of a mountain, which is called a honeymoon lake. We go up to the lake. We walk from the foot of the hill up to the hill. A lot of walking exercises involve meditation, not just sitting. We have to walk meditation. We have walking meditation, sitting meditation, chanting meditation. We even have eating meditation. When we're eating, we don't speak a word. We keep quiet. Okay, so to further learn about meditation and how to improve your emotional well-being, you can take a snapshot of these. I have a lot of lectures on YouTube. Meditation and Consciousness. My name is Venerable Guan Cheng, and Meditation and Consciousness. I think I have 28 lectures on YouTube. Each one is about half an hour. So you can get onto YouTube and learn about meditation and consciousness, and 9 stages of training the mind, and about the 8 consciousnesses. You can get into YouTube, these are the link. I also talk about the 12 dependent origination. In the Sanskrit language is Paticca Samuppada. Paticca Samuppada, how we reincarnate in samsara, in the world of samsara, how we reincarnate from one life after another. So the 12 links of dependent origination. So that's the end of my talk. I've been talking for 1.5 hours. Thank you very much for not sleeping. So I don't know if that would be beneficial to you. Okay, yeah. I pick anyone from there. I like to answer every question, so I will take it out. So my first question is, what is that of a look of each? We all felt our body in the Pure Land. Of each what? Ram? I can't read this note. Can you read this note? Yeah. Can you read this note?
Is it by Sophie? Yeah, Sophie, can you read it out, please?
Yeah. Second question, negative thought. I have chronic depression, but I just cannot escape. 2 of my children have autism. 3 people with what we said in one negative emotions. If all of this connected, how can we heal this? I need help with my depression. I want to help my children too. Thank you. I think when all the karmic energy are pulled together, like your children have autism and you have depression, because one related to the other, one affect the other. The fact that your children have autism and you must feel sad and mentally you are under a lot of burden. I think all these are karmic energy that bind you. Other than the 2 ways, one is a self-generated power to change it, the other way is other power. So I think the first important method to do it is to use not only your own power, but also an other power. You do some more chanting. Chanting to invoke external power to help you to go through the troubles. Now, I don't know your financial situation. Maybe you could seek outside help in dealing with this problem, because your family have 2 autism persons plus your depression. Maybe you should try not let your depression affect you, because you have to look after your children. So render your love to your children. The first is to resolve your problems first. Just like when you're in an airplane, if anything happened to an airplane, the first is to take that gas and put it in your own mouth and not into the mouth of your children. And you have to save yourself to can save the children. So heal your own depression first. Try to get your depression out or alleviate your depression state so that you can look after your children. All this is because of karma. Your previous karma could lead you to the situation you are now. You have to face it. Everything is impermanent. Everything will come to an end. But in the interim, use your courage to face it. Face it as if it's a challenge to you. It's easy to back down and say, I fail, I don't want to do anything. But change yourself in order that you can help your children. Save yourself first. Generate this other power by chanting, and seek help from externally, from the government, from friends, and in many ways. You have to confront it, you have to face it, don't escape from it. Maybe after a while, things would get softened up and you can actually slowly get used to the problem. I have seen people who have all kinds of bad karmic energy clump together and they still can face it. Time will go on. The sun will always get up tomorrow. You can be grief-stricken right now, but instead of just being grief-stricken, pluck up your courage and face it. Improve yourself, and then help your children to go along. Yeah. if you have an MP, what advice you would give to government to alleviate mental disorder and religious condition? What advice you would give to government if you were an MP or a member of parliament? What advice you would give to government to alleviate mental disorder and religious conflicts? Now, what advice you would give to the government? I think in order to solve problems, you have to understand what the problems is. So, just like if you want to solve the mental disorder problem, you have to know how you think, how your mind actually works. Then once you understand, you have to understand the problems before you can get a solution to it. Understand where the problems come from. If you're an MP, I think you should, from the perspective of education, organize some educational courses to let people know what are these problems. Instead of talk about it, get more information about it so that people would know how to deal with it instead of avoiding the problems. Talk about the problems, bring the problem out, and open a discussion about it and help each other to resolve the problem. If we know, it's just like a case study. When you run into the problem, you have to analyze the problems, then design a solution to it. There's a saying, all problems have a solution. You can alleviate the problem. So we'll bring it out to the open and talk about it and understand more about it. And know your brain, talk to neuroscientists about how the brain works and design. Don't close your door. Get to know more about it. Yeah. I'm a secondary school teacher. I realized that the teenagers are becoming less patient and the thinking is more one-dimensional as modern technology fills them with what they like to hear. Venerable Guan mentioned we can use AI to learn how to think. Please, would you mind explaining more? Thank you very much. This is an area that requires a lot of clarification in it. As I said, we bring it to the open, and we can solve a problem in a day. So we have to get to know it first. We get more knowledge about it. You are a school teacher. You will encounter a lot of different students of different problems at home or the schoolwork. Just slowly go through it. Don't walk away from the problems. Problems always come up. When you see a problem, don't get discouraged by it. Don't get mixed up by it. Don't get angry with it. Just watch it as if it will always come, and we'll see how we resolved it. You have to stand firm and still in your thinking. Don't get scared. Don't get discouraged. And just walk the board. There will be a solution. As long as you keep cool and face it. What is a key to a happy life? A key to a happy life is you have to be a good person. You have to be healthy. You have to get the right understanding of what life is all about. Get to know not just the Buddhist teaching, even if you get to know what is in the Bible. Get to know what the main theme that each religion is talking about. Appreciate life. What you are facing is what you have done in the past. What you have done in the past, you cannot redo it. So any mistakes you have done in the past, don't commit the same mistake again. But go ahead with the right approach. Every day could be a happy day. It depends on your attitude of looking at it. The sun will always get up tomorrow. Don't think about committing suicide. I don't want to see how the sun comes up tomorrow. It does not matter. You just face it. Whatever comes up, just face it and keep cool and see how you confront it. What is your point of view on miscarriage baby loss? A miscarriage baby loss, if it's intentional, then you learn not to do it again. If it's unintentional, It could be a matter of fate. It could be karma. Karma would stop that baby from being born. As long as you try your best, don't mourn on it. Don't feel sorry about it. As long as you have done your best about it. How to deal with fear of unknown future, fear of death. The future hasn't come. The fact that you worry about death does not mean that you don't have to die. The fact that you worry about your sickness does not mean that the sickness will be healed. Let tomorrow take care of itself as long as you plan now. Don't ruminate on your past. The past will never come again. You won't allow the past mistake to be repeated again, so don't hang on to the bad past. Just live at the present moment. Use your courage to face it. Don't worry about future, because the future hasn't come yet. You can plan for your future, but you don't have to worry about it. How to deal with fear? Can you change your destiny? You can change your destiny by changing your thought. Watch your thought. Because a thought would breed your speech and actions. Don't repeat the same thing as a habit, and your habit repeated on the same thing becomes your personality. But change your destiny by changing your thought. So that's why people say when they meditate, be thoughtful, be mindful. Don't cultivate any bad thought. Keep on thinking about generosity, compassion, helpfulness, thinking about good stuff. Don't think about how to rip people off, how to stand on top of all your colleagues, how to be better by all kinds of means. Just do it honestly. How to find the balance of inner peace. How to find the balance of inner peace? First learn it from understanding your mind. How to calm down your mind. So you do your samatha to calm down your mind, and you do your introspection to dissolve the bad thought. In other words, how to get the wisdom in doing it. Getting the wisdom from the Buddha. Right now, on AI, you can get what the Buddha think. Like some Buddhist concept, like the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path, dependent origination. Get to know some of the Buddhist concepts and put that concept in your mind so that you can use this concept to consider all these problems. In other words, get all the tools in a toolbox. You may not have enough tools to use. If you're a carpenter, you need to gather all the necessary tools and materials. So if you all the tools, then you can do a nice carpentry work. You can get the right hammer, the right chisel, the right saw. Get all your tools. All these tools, it's very convenient to these days. You can get from AI or from online all these Buddhist concepts. Read these Buddhist concepts and see how can you apply to your thinking. All these concepts are your spiritual tools. All the tools in you that you can use to resolve your problems. How do you to find the balance? That's how you find the balance. Know yourself, get all the tools, get onto the information. Right now, AI really gives you a lot of information as long as you can dig into it. Like this morning, when I want to dig into the information about statistics of the UK, about suicidal rate and about depression, I got it right away. It's easy right now. So get to AI or online to get the Buddhist teaching about certain things, about emptiness, about sunyata, about reincarnation, samsara. Think about if you want to go for a movie, you look at the script of a movie written by somebody else. Why not just sit down and meditate on your own life? What have I been doing? Have I been doing it right? How do I improve myself? How do I get more tools into my bag? Write your own script. You can write your own script of life. You are the creator of your own life. If your old script is worn out, it's useless, you don't like your old script, write another new script. Get a new script, write onto your new script and follow it. It's interesting to do that. Follow your script. You are You are the director of that script. You are the actor. You are also the audience of it. It's interesting. Can we choose to come back to teach others once we leave this realm if we reach Dharma? Yes, some people make a vow that if I end up this life, I want to come back as a benefactor in education, in medicine. That's the reason why vows are very important. You make vows, I will do that, I would. You make vows, it's the plan, you do a good plan. But next time when I come back, I want to do this. I want to be a good politician. I want to be a politician that would do good to the society. I want to be a good doctor who can help all these sick patients. You can always put your vow in anything. It will come true. Whatever the mind can conceive, the mind can do. The mind is very powerful. Whatever the mind can think, the mind will carry it out as long as you're persistent in doing it. I have read that God as a concept does not exist at all as important in Buddhism. What is your view about it? Nothing is not a concept. God is a concept. So what? Yeah, it's a concept. It's a good concept, right? God is just a name. It's just like you can call Buddha a god. You can call Buddha anything you want. It's just a name. It's not the name. You can call it many names. But that is the consciousness in you. You can call it God, you can call it Jesus, you can call it Sakyamuni Buddha, but it's all that intrinsic nature of purity inside of you. That intrinsic purity, pure nature in you is like a mirror. You have that mirror in you, but that mirror has been covered up with dust and dirt for millions of years. Now our job is to slowly eradicate all the dust and dirt in here. But the fact that that mirror of nature in you has been covered up does not mean that that mirror has lost its reflectability. If this is the mirror, this is covered with dust and dirt, which is all your karmic energy, it does not mean that that mirror has lost its reflectability function. The reflectability is behind the dust and dirt. As long as you eradicate all this dust and dirt, you will see your clear self. And once that is revealed, you are the Buddha. You are away from samsara and reincarnation and suffering. You are one big mirror that is enlightenment. We call it nirvana because there's no other name for it. You can call it anything you want. It's that understanding. People call it enlightenment. Some people call it anuttara samya sambuddhi. Some people call it the ultimate wisdom. Some people call it the God. But that is the intrinsic nature in you that's been covered up by your own karmic energy. You can eradicate that. You can get rid of it by learning how to wash it out. In Pure Land, can you go back to the future and now you're already, I can see that. You go back to the future, do you mean that you see that movie Going Back to the Future? I think you go forward to the future, not going back to the future. Yeah, going back to the future, go forward to the future. Okay, thank you very much for your attention today, and we've been set up a good relationship. And as I said, quantum entanglement said that actually we are all related. The fact that you're coming here is all related. We could have seen each other in our previous life, and maybe in future, if you are still reincarnating, we'll see each other. But a relationship has been set up, and I think that relationship is wholesome. But because we've been learning how to improve ourselves, how to change our life, how to purify our polluted karma. All right, thank you very much for your coming today, and hope that I can see you in the future. Okay.